It's recording, so whenever you're ready, and I'll splice out this first part.
In 2005, CBC was going through Rick Warren's book, Purpose-Driven Life. The staff had investigated numerous local ministry opportunities for our parishioners to try and see if anyone might be led to serve him in an attempt to find their purpose, or at least one of their purposes. Earlier that year, I had assisted Grant Arakaki in remodeling the sound booth. And as is characteristic of a good small church staff, someone must have remembered that. So I was asked if I might be interested in joining our first BA, Christian Ministry House Building trip in June of 2005. I believe that Pastor Gary had heard about BCM from the pastor at Sierra Madre Community Church, who had been participating with BCM for many years. For the first trip, we would send a small pilot team and accompany SMCC on the build. 8 of our folks were attending: Ruth Akahoshe, Ruth Sun, Jeff Washiashi, Eric Sato, Daniel Hing, Bob Kuhn, Brian Kaba, and me. We were not sure what to expect in terms of driving within Mexico, so we rented 2 minivans for the trip instead of using our own vehicles. After the first trip, we realized that taking our own vehicles was just fine, so it was more cost effective. At that time, we were going down early Friday morning and returning on Sunday. I believe that was due in part to the fact that the pre-cut lumber that we opt for now was not an option then. Plus, I believe there were fewer BCM locals to assist with the construction. We now travel down early Saturday morning and return Sunday evening, no longer requiring a third day to finish. We were also staying at Pastor Sergio Gomez's dormitory in Tijuana, which had separate men's and women's quarters with homemade bunks made of plywood with a 4-inch foam pad on top. We brought our own bedding or sleeping bags and were sort of roughing it. After the first few trips staying in the dormitory, we changed to staying in a hotel near the Otay Mesa border crossing, which is far more comfortable and has far more options for dinner within walking distance of the hotel. My recollection is that the first day went smoothly, with the framing, siding, and part of the roof completed. As I lay in my top bunk in the dorm on Friday night, I was sore and tired, yet was wide awake thinking about the amazing thing we were doing. In just 3 days, we were going to provide a safe, weatherproof home for a family who were unlikely to ever be able to afford one on their own. Then it hit me. This was my purpose, or at least one of my purposes, that God had provided for me. Right then, I made a commitment to God that I would continue to build homes for BCM for as long as I was physically able to do so. Since that 2005 build, I've now participated in 19 additional trips, helping with the construction of 20 additional houses. This April will be my 21st trip, and in case you're wondering about the math, on our third trip, we had a large group and built 2 homes. That was a bit chaotic, and I don't think we're likely to do this again. When the keys were presented to the family on Sunday, there were a few dry eyes among the participants, including mine. This part of it never gets old. My eyes well up with tears every time. The Holy Spirit reminds me each time how blessed we are and how easy it is for us to make a difference for others while serving Him. This opportunity to serve God by serving those who are far less fortunate has been a blessing for me, and I'm sure for everyone else who has participated. As some of you know, on the January 2008 trip, my 4th trip, I cut my finger on day 1 and had to return to San Diego to have surgery. When some of my coworkers saw what had happened, they figured that after that I'd never go back again because it would be too risky. Actually, it has had just the opposite effect on me. I had allowed God to reveal His purpose for me, and I became more determined than ever to recover from this and continue to build with BCM. I attended the October 2008 trip and most of the subsequent trips. If any of you are searching for one of God's purposes for you, or you've thought about going but haven't been able to make it before, you should consider joining us in April. No experience is needed, just an open mind and heart and a willingness to serve. I can't believe anyone could participate in the BCM home building without having their heart changed forever and blessed by God.